What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls' last game of their season as they are eliminated now from the NBA playoffs, losing this series in Game 5, Milwaukee winning 4 to the Chicago Bulls winning 1. We're going to be talking about some of the positive things to take away from this playoff series. I'm not going to get too focused into the game itself because I did not watch most of this game. I think if you look at the stats, you could pretty much already tell how the game went in terms of this game was very similar to Game 3 and Game 4 in my eyes and in my opinion. And at the end of the day, we're just going to take bits and pieces of the game and talk mainly about the positives. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, performance in this playoff series. Did they meet your expectation? Did they exceed your expectation by winning a game? Or did they lower your expectation and you thought they would have done a lot better than what they did at the end of the day? There's a reason why I don't want to talk too negatively about this, because one, as I said before, I didn't watch this game in its entirety. I saw bits and pieces, and the bits and pieces that I did watch, I thought the Chicago Bulls played okay. I saw the three-point shooting percentage, and I was stunned by that, but at the end of the day, that's what we've been doing all series, and to see the Chicago Bulls not really do anything different in that regard is upsetting, and no one can tell me that we could have done worse if we took it more into the paint than shooting threes, but it's over and done now. There's no need to get into that point. We've been eliminated. But I feel like the Chicago Bulls season, for the most part, has been a success. And it's been frustrating in terms of the NBA playoffs, how badly we performed in some of those games and all those situations. But you got to put it into retrospective towards the whole season in its entirety and where we were last year as a team. Last year, we were battling for a play-in spot. This year, we avoided the play-in entirely and we made the NBA playoffs. And not only that, we got a win against the reigning champions in the Milwaukee Bucks that does have a decent chance to go on and try and, complete that mission again. They got a very tough task of Boston. Boston obviously very, very confident after what they did to Brooklyn, and I think Brooklyn had a worse standing than the Chicago Bulls in this playoff year. But again, I'm not here to compare other teams we didn't play. Good luck to Milwaukee, good luck to Boston, good luck to everybody that's advancing into that next round. But for the Chicago Bulls, this season, in my opinion, was a successful one through all of the trials and tribulations, through all the protocols and the injuries that we sustained, battling through every single step of the way, to, of course, the unfortunate, terrible 2 months in March and April, and then the playoff elimination. At the end of the day, it's not ideal. I think many of us expected more based on the start of the season, but if you look at the predictions of what many Bulls fans and many Bulls analysts and even NBA analysts, even mainstream media analysts were saying about the Chicago Bulls and where they were going to finish, most people said between 4 and 6, and then of course the mainstream media basically said we're just going to be a play-in team, which again, they are wrong, and many people were right about the 4 and the 6. So again, I'm not too upset about the whole season. I do obviously think we need major improvements, and we'll have to figure that out in due time. But yeah, I think the season has been a success in its entirety. And next year, we're going to have to find a new element, find new ways to become better than this year. The playoff experience for these guys will be massive for a lot of them. Again, Patrick Williams had 2 good games in a row now for the Chicago Bulls. Again, I think 1 rebound is poor from him, in all honesty. But he's been scoring very well in Game 4 and Game 5. I think that's something he can take with him into next season. And again, Patrick Williams, he could really be one hell of a player, man. And just by watching him today, the glimpses that I saw once again, it's phenomenal to see Patrick Williams play in that way. And we know he's inconsistent. We know there's a chance he'll never become that consistent player. But my goodness, is the talent there for Patrick Williams. I'm very, very proud of him today. And look, not everybody played well. Not everybody played great basketball. And we did well to cut it to 11 at one point. I was definitely watching when that happened. But yeah, the positives to take away from this series or take away from this season is that we are in a better standing than where we were last year. We've got a lot of players that did perform well. We have more identity now than probably what we did at the beginning of the season, even though the identity might not be the one that we want. And looking further into it, we now have ideas of which players need to leave the Chicago Bulls team and what kind of players we need to bring in. Many people say we need to bring in more defenders, two-way players. I definitely think the way that we play in this playoff series, we're going to have to get more shooters, because if that's the way that we plan to play in the NBA playoffs now, with DeMar DeRozan trying to dish it out to shooters, shooting over 43s in a game. By the way, this is our highest shooting percentage, or our highest 3-point attempts in the entire season in this game. I think we had over 42 3-point shots. So we were chucking them up today, ladies and gentlemen, and we did not make a good chunk of them. So if that's how we're going to play, we're going to have to adjust this team from maybe a small ball lineup to a 3-point orientated team, play similar to how the Warriors would play, shoot threes and live with the results. I think a lot of teams will go down in that direction. I think the Bulls need to do that as well. Otherwise, we will have similar performances like this next year if we leave this unattended. So we have ideas now, ladies and gentlemen. This season in its entirety has been a success from last year to this year. Now the aim for the Chicago Bulls next year is to have a better season than this year, maybe try to win a playoff series next year as well, and ultimately try to compete at the highest level and try to go for championships and try to go for those contenders and see if we can become one of those teams. Because unfortunately, this end of the season has proved to us we just haven't been that team that we thought we were at the beginning of the season. So I'm looking forward to the offseason. I wish we could still be in the playoffs. I wish we forced this to Game 6, but it's over now. It's done. I don't want to talk too negatively anymore about the Chicago Bulls team. My frustrations have been voiced a long time ago. I don't want to repeat myself every single game reaction. I'm sure you guys know the problems. I'm sure you guys know the solutions. And we'll wait and see how the free agency period, obviously the trades, the draft, we've got a lot to look forward to in the offseason as well. I never want to see the Chicago Bulls end their season this early at the end of the day, the first round of the playoffs. You want to see your team go to the second round and the Eastern Conference Finals and be one of those popular teams that many people believe have a chance to go and really do something special. But this year just wasn't it. We've got to go back to the drawing board, do what we do best. AK, Mark, everybody in the front office has an idea on how to improve this team. There are certain guys on this team that we may like that won't be here next year. Many players that we don't like will be here next year. It's just that reality. But I trust in AK. I trust in Mark Eversley. I trust in this entire Bulls organization to really adjust this team and to do the things that they're paid to do. And that's to make this team better next year. And we'll wait and see. We'll live with the results, obviously. But yeah, if you guys have any sort of idea of how this game went beyond what I said, obviously I could tell you the 3-point percentage, and I could tell you that we tried to challenge the Milwaukee Bucks from the 3-point line. Granted that we shot more than the Milwaukee Bucks from 3, and we actually made less, I believe. And I could say a bunch of things about the 3-point line. I could say a bunch of things about taking it to the paint. I could say a bunch of things about energy and effort. I could say all these things all over again. It's just, in my opinion, a repetition thing. I don't really want to speak too much more about it. So I'm going to end this video here. Game 5 has come to a conclusion. I will give respect to Milwaukee as well. Again, if you want to click off this part of the video because I'm going to be praising the Milwaukee Bucks, feel free. But you got to give credit to the reigning champions on doing what they were supposed to do in this series. Look, we came into this series as the heavy underdogs. Milwaukee came into this as a team that may have not been at their best in the regular season. Obviously, they're third in the Eastern Conference and they had less wins than their championship reign last year. But they're a team that has been there and done that before. They have championship caliber, they have championship-orientated players, and they have a structure and system in place that allows them to get the best out of their players. They have a good coach. Obviously, they have one of the best players in the world in Giannis. They have great three-point shooting. They have a good defensive scheme and game plan. They use their size to their advantage. I can list Milwaukee Bucks' praises all night long. And unfortunately, it's a competitive series. Sometimes I say things that maybe don't really give credit to Milwaukee, but at the end of the day, there is no way any person in the NBA that supports the NBA and supports any team outside of the Milwaukee Bucks can't give respect to that team. They're a great team. They're a great organization. Yes, some of their players may be dirty. Some of their players do have a little bit of an attitude that if you're in Milwaukee, you'll love, but if you're outside of Milwaukee and you're another team's supporter, you'll probably hate those types of guys, but they get the job done. They've got a really tough challenge in Boston, and I have a couple of friends that go for Boston, and I think they're coming into this series against Milwaukee very confident. But you can never rule the reigning champions out. It's going to be one hell of a battle. I'm looking forward to this. I think Boston will give up a good fight for them, and we'll wait and see the outcome. But I will give respect to Milwaukee. I obviously think the Chicago Bulls could have done better in this series, but at the end of the day, it's done now. We didn't perform better, and we move on into next season for us. And we'll see what Milwaukee, Boston, and a bunch of other teams in the playoffs can do. It's going to be good to watch these games as a neutral now, knowing that there's no pressure, there's no stress, but also there's pretty much no excitement if you're a Bulls fan either. I don't think I really care who wins the championship this year if it wasn't the Bulls, but at least as a fan of the NBA, you get to watch these games and not really just have fun with it and not really be too stressed out, too upset, too emotionally attached to the Chicago Bulls if they were to advance and stuff like that. There's positives and negatives to everything. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Next video, we'll probably get more about the Chicago Bulls end of the season. We're going to go more into off-season talks as well. I'll be putting up more polls on this channel so we can get more engagement. People can give me suggestions on players I can talk about for free agency and for trades. That's where it's getting to now, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the most exciting parts of YouTube happen because things are going to be changing. Of course, winning a championship is the most important thing, the most exciting thing, but free agency and trades are probably the second most exciting thing for YouTubers, for YouTube viewers, stuff like that. I think many people are very excited to see what we do. So feel free to let me know for any suggestions when I do bring those polls up and stuff like that. But have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. And we'll see if we could be better next year. Take care.